Hi there, and welcome back to our Special Olympics Illinois webcast tutorials. Today we're talking about powerlifting and specifically defining your events for squat, bench press, deadlift, and then our combined events. So in this session, we're going to talk about squat, bench press, and deadlift, and then we'll have a separate session where we will discuss combined since they're a little tricky to get set up so that they're calculating your scores properly. We'll have a separate session dedicated to that. So when we're defining our events, when we set them up, initially we're going to set them up as having one round of competition. The way we need to get combined to work, we need to set this up as one round. And then once we've set our final divisions and we're happy with those, then we'll go back and change the event definitions to having 2 rounds of competition. This will allow us to go in and make the combined events tabulate properly, so then you can division on site based on the results of their competition that day for their combined scores. So what you'll need is you'll just need a copy of your policies and procedures for reference, specifically a copy of your powerlifting rule interpretations, and it's helpful to have a copy of the powerlifting entry form alongside with you. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I'm in my GMS here in my main screen, and I'm just going to come here and click on my games, and then I'm going to click on my test games that we set up in a previous session. Then we're just going to open up here our events and expand this. And you remember from our last session that we just input or we added only the female versions of these events. We're going to go through each one of these, and as we define them, we're just going to make them a generic bench press event combination, deadlift and squat. That way we don't have to select through 10 different events to input our athletes, since we're going to be divisioning them by gender anyway. So let's go ahead and right click on female bench press. We're going to come down here to setup and to define this event. And the first thing we want to do is we're going to come up here and click in here, and we're just going to get rid of female there. And let's go ahead and change our event code, and we're going to take that F off of there. So we know that this is just a generic bench press event. It is an individual event. And we're going to capitalize division names. We will use levels, but we're not going to use multi-part scores. If you look down here, it gives you the opportunity to input their results for each lift, as well as mark whether it was a success or fail. In my tests with this, it was a little cumbersome to mark those, and it is my opinion that it could be rather confusing to a volunteer inputting that day. And since we only really record their best lift, we don't need to put in all 3 of those. So we're going to go ahead and take off multi-part scores. So we just have capitalized division names and uses levels. Again, initially we're going to set this up as only 1 round of competition, so that will allow us to get a final division in here. And now our levels are pre-populated here. These are the SOI standard levels. And obviously, if you're looking at your entry form, we have split this out by male and female. So we're going to go ahead and change these levels. So I'm just going to click on delete here for all of these and get rid of those. And now when I come to my add button here, now here's where I can type in all of my levels. And I'm going to pause just for a second to get my entry form in front of me. Okay, sorry about that. So here we're just going to type in here, we're going to call this level A, and that is 53 kilograms. And then if you just hit your enter button, that will take you to your next row. So this will be level B and 59 kilograms. And then we're going to continue this all the way through to add all of our male levels and then all of our female levels. I'm going to go ahead and pause this and do that step. If you want to go ahead and do that and then come back and join us, Just don't hit save yet because we're going to want to copy what we do here before we hit our save button. So go ahead and take a minute to input your levels, and I will see you back here in just a few seconds. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you've gone through and you've added all of your levels. Here we can see A through Q. What we're going to do here is I've just got my cursor at the bottom. I'm just going to click and drag all the way up so that I've highlighted all of those. And then I want to copy what I've typed in here. So I'm just going to hit the Control C so that that copies that to my clipboard. That's going to be very helpful when we're setting up all of the events. We won't have to type all of that each time. We'll just be able to paste it in. So once I've copied that, now I can hit save, and it'll list all of my levels here. So then we'll save that. Of course, our awards are medals, first through third, ribbons for all other. We do not skip places on ties, so we'll need to change that. And of course, our age groups are a little different, so we're going to delete what is standard in here, and we're going to add our age group. Okay, so our first age group is our 14, and then we're going to add our second, and let's try maybe 22, and then maybe a 30 and up. Of course, obviously we'll go back and alter these as we need to with divisioning, but at least we've got a couple age groups in there. If we can possibly get some age groups, then we've got something to start with at least. So then we'll go ahead and click Save on there. And then, of course, our date for calculating ages. We're just going to go back to December 2014, the 31st. And let's get rid of our scoreboard name since we don't use that. And then, of course, our score type is weight, and we're going to leave this the same. And what we can do here is set our maximum honest effort to 30%. And then our schedule stays as it is defaulted here. Something to note in here, you can put in a defined valid score range. So we can set that up to be our minimum score of 45 pounds, which is just the bar alone. Unfortunately, if we do that, we also need to put in a maximum score. So we're going to put in here 1,000, just to give us a maximum, because otherwise it thinks 0 is a maximum, but our minimum's 45, and that kind of confuses GMS 6. So we're going to go ahead and set that minimum score of 45 and then a maximum of 1,000. And then since this event started as a female event, we want to make sure we've come down here for genders allowed and include the males, and make sure that it's only athletes allowed in the event. And then, of course, if your powerlifting event happens to be with your spring games, you could also put in here any other sport and select track and field, so that will pop up as a problem when you're entering them in the registration wizard. But otherwise, we can just leave that blank, and then we're going to go ahead and save that. And then we're going to repeat this for all of our events, for our deadlift as well here. We'll go through this one a little quicker, and we're just going to get rid of our female here and change our event code. And get rid of this multi-part scores, one round of competition. And then here, when we click on our levels again, we're going to get rid of these levels. And then when we come to add, now all I have to do is right click and click paste, and it puts all of my levels in. So now I can hit save, and I've got the levels the way I want them. Medals, that's correct. We don't want to skip places. And we're going to change these age groups here. So we're going to start this actually at 14. Then I think we went to 22. And then 30. So we'll save that. Of course, our date for calculating ages, December 2014. And get rid of our scoreboard. And let's go ahead and put in our minimum weight of 45, our maximum of 1,000, and then our honest effort of 30%. And again, we need to make sure that males are also allowed in this event and that it's only athletes. So we can save that. And then we're going to come in here and do the same with Sqaut. I'm going to just take female out of the name and change our event code and get rid of this multi-part scores. 1 round. Oh, forgot to do that on the last one. We'll have to go back and do that. I'm going to start with our new levels here, and we're just going to paste and save that. We don't skip places, and we want to get rid of these and start from scratch with 14, 22, and 30. And then our date for calculating ages. Get rid of that scoreboard. Add in our minimum of 45 pounds, our maximum of 1,000, and our honest effort of 30. And we're going to scroll down and make sure that males are in this event as well, and only athletes. So let's go ahead and save that. And let's go back into deadlift because I did forget to make that 1 round. So we're going to make, well, I did make that 1 round. But remember, every time you go in to look at an event definition, you need to reset this date for calculating ages to be December 31st. And that is our setting up our main events of squat, bench, and deadlift for powerlifting. And we'll, like I said earlier, we'll have a separate session here to go through and set up the event definitions for our 2 combined events. As always, there will be a checklist of event definitions available on the user's blog. And of course, I hope you have found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next session.